feel like going for a ride? Maybe heading south, somewhere else tonight with me? Me? DJ was shocked. You mean me and you? I'm not allowed out too late. Carlin smiled kindly. I know, I won't keep you out till all hours. DJ had been caught off guard and immensely regretted how he had beaver cleavered his response by mentioning any kind of curfew. His plan had been to sit at a table in the corner, and when Carlin wasn't looking, to shoot lust-laden glances at her during the night. With a little luck, he might be able to coordinate his departure so that she would be able to give him another ride home, as she had one night before. The possibility of being alone with her for any period of time had never entered his head. He rocked back and forth, slowly, on his heels. Won't your husband mind? No, she hesitated. I guess it was a dumb idea. Makes more sense to go inside. No, I don't think it was a dumb idea. DJ quickly interrupted. I'd like to go, let's go. Are you sure, Carlin asked, cocking her head to the side. Yes, I'm absolutely sure, DJ responded. Absolutely, positively sure. I am really 100% sure. I really am, believe me, let's go. As he moved into the darkness, DJ realized that if he didn't stay close to Carlin, she would disappear in seconds. After jogging a couple of steps, he caught up. See, right over there, she called, as she pointed her finger. The wind was ferocious. DJ could barely make out Carlin's words. He followed her pointed finger and could see the whitecaps as they crashed onto the beach. He was freezing. He turned back to Carlin. She had disappeared. DJ looked left and right and saw nothing. Carlin, he called. All he could hear were his own words, nearly lost in the howling wind. Carlin, he yelled again, but this time his voice was totally drowned out as a monster wave thundered onto the beach, spraying icy needles across his face. Carlin, where are you? Panic was beginning to erupt. Carlin! Freezing fingers suddenly covered his eyes from behind. Gotcha, she said, her mouth close to his ear. Let's go, it's too scary here. That Carlin, she wears me out. Your mother was a wonderful person, and I know her biggest regret, the one that tore at her more than the cancer, was leaving the two of you behind. I know how much she loved you both. How do you know that? DJ was deep into the flames, past the orange, past the blue, past the rising smoke. Monty perched the toe of one boot into the heel of the other. Because she was my best friend and she told me so, you kids were everything to her. But did she ever say so? Monty looked at DJ. That she loved you? Of course she did, many times. But even if she hadn't, it wouldn't have mattered because I knew she did. He continued to stare at DJ. You know that, don't you? Because if you don't, you should. Your sister and you were the world to her. There was nothing else that fulfilled her life more than the two of you. He shook his head again. But I guarantee the need you both had for your mother was mild compared to her yearning for the two of you. Nothing sadder in this whole world than a mom unable to take care of her babies. Before continuing, his voice now strained. And I'm still here and she's still gone. And all the booze I drank that day and all the pain growing inside me weren't going to change that. Much as I'd like to say it isn't so, it is. He turned away. And the wireless played God Save the Queen before it went off the air for the final time. Or staying up late with Patty and watching the TV station and its nightly programming with the Star-Spangled Banner. As the chorale sang the sweet final notes, the American flag that had been rippling across the screen faded, and 4 jets in formation rocketed into view, then quickly disappeared, trailing gray clouds of smoke. Smoke that gradually turned to snow as the station transmitters shut down for the night. All at once, DJ was floating. The sensation was familiar, and though he couldn't recall the first time it had happened, if he had to guess, it was shortly after his mother died. Rising, then floating, he was able to detach from any emotional discomfort, and from a remote overhead vantage point, gradually grow tranquil and at ease. As far back as he could remember, distance had been his refuge. With his back to the moon, DJ lingered over the cabin, floated above the trees. This night he could sense his mother as he hung suspended, could feel her breath and the tingling of her fingertips as she touched him, held him. For seconds he was part of her, safer in her embrace, content to view the world through her eyes. DJ stood and watched from the window as snowflakes began to fall in front of the dark trees. First a black and white screen, then a wedding veil, and finally, a white wall. Thank you. You're very nice, and I appreciate it. I will be glad to answer any questions you might have. Hi.
When you started writing in hotel rooms at night, was this what you were doing, or did you try some other things first?
Yeah, I was doing a whole lot of different things, but it's just that the high school thing just seemed to pop up and wouldn't go away. And I subsequently have discovered that a lot of people have those kind of feelings. I realized that I reconnected with a lot of my high school friends, and they had similar feelings, and somehow that made me feel better. Yes, sir.
Have you written another book?
I have. Wonder you should bring that up. Yeah, I have another book coming out in June. It's called After and Before. Totally unrelated to this book. After and Before is about a woman executive in Manhattan who gets herself into one heck of a mess. And it's, as I say, it's done. It's done, just about done, and we're going to have it out by June, we anticipate, we hope. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. Are there characters that you don't like in your book? And if so, how do you handle writing about them compared to like Carmen? She might be very yeah, so I'm to write about her.
She wrote herself. Believe it. I can tell you a funny story about Carlin. When I started the book, she did not exist, and she became such an integral part of the book. And the way she came into the book was, TJ was at the Jailhouse Rock, and he was sitting there looking around after he'd just gone through some other crazy thing with the girl he was going out with, and he's sitting there and he's looking around. I'm typing this, and I'm on the computer, and he sees Carlin. I said, that's really how it worked. I couldn't believe it. You know, that's cool. And then she just developed. So if somebody says to me, wow, you know, that Carlin, she's really a driving force. Well, she is, but she wasn't at the beginning. You know? Anything else? Yes?
Out of curiosity, when you sat down and I mean, basically the story evolved, how many times do you find yourself taking the story down the road and going, no, and backing up and taking it in a different direction?
Yeah, you know what? That's a very good question. And what I've discovered for myself is I know where I'm going with the book, but I'm not sure how I'm going to get there. So there are a lot of roads that are not necessarily good, and there's an awful lot of rewriting too involved in everything, because you think something's great, and then you read it again the next day and go, wow, this is lousy, you know. But yeah, good question. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, let me say thank you so much for coming. I'm very appreciative of it. And I guess how does the books work with you?
Thank you, Ted. And thanks to all of you for coming. Now that you're persuaded, you must know what else happens in this book. I'm happy to tell you.